to a new episode of Journey of a Christian Writer. In this episode, I'm going to go over 4 don'ts of writing Christian fiction. Some of these, some might object to, but it's just my personal opinion, according to what's written in the scriptures. This episode will not be very long at all. I'm just going to briefly go over the 4 different items. The first don't for Christian fiction is don't use profanity, foul language, or swear words. It's clearly spoken against in the scriptures. You can find this reference in Matthew chapter 5, verse 34 through 37, if you're interested in looking that up. But do not use swear words in your Christian fiction. Some writers think that they have to use that in order to make their dialogue believable to readers, but you do not have to use swear words during different scenes in your story. Even during like dramatic scenes, if characters are arguing or something like that, you don't have to use those types of words within your Christian fiction. You can just keep things simple and still get the message across, The next thing is to don't use explicit sex scenes. If you don't know what I mean by this, explicit meaning don't be too graphic. Your Christian fiction should not seem like an erotic novel or short story. So do not use explicit sex scenes in your writing. It's not even written like that in the scriptures. There's a lot of simple terms that are used in reference to that, such as lie or no, like it talks about in Genesis between Adam and Eve and all that. So you don't have to be too graphic with those types of more sensitive situations. It's best to just keep things simple or symbolic terms, as it talks about in the Song of Solomon, how the references are used. But just keep things pretty simple and do not make it seem like your Christian fiction is a steamy romance novel or something. But that's the second one. The next one is don't add or take away from the Holy Scriptures. This is one that some have actually done. Some screenwriters in quote-unquote Christian movies have done this and just misrepresented the scriptures and having prophets in the Bible doing things that never was recorded. So it's best to just keep the word the way that it is. If you make a reference in your story to a particular verse, just keep it the way that it is. Don't add anything and don't take away anything from it, because this is clearly spoken against as well in Revelation chapter 22, verse 18 through 19. So do not change anything. This is why, in my opinion, I just stick with the King James Version. I do not use the New King James Version or the New Living Translation, any of those other types of Bible versions of the scriptures, because some of them actually change the words, which can actually change the meaning of the verse. That's why, any references that I use in my Christian fiction stories, I just use the King James Version to be on the safe side, so that's just something to keep in mind. And the last thing is to don't write in violation of God's word. This meaning, do not sanction things that he's clearly against. For example, writing about a female character that's married who gets into a second relationship while her first husband's living. All that pretty much is just fictional adultery. So don't write stories like that, because I have came across some stories that have had that type of theme in them. Some Christian fiction stories, but do not write stories that are clearly in violation of God's word. But that's pretty much all that I have for this video, and I hope it was helpful. Until next time, happy writing.